Beef Wellington. It's a dish of royalty. It's Gordon Ramsay's signature. Everyone has heard of it, but who's ever cooked or eaten one? Not me, and in all likelihood not you. So is this mythical dish any good? There's only one way to find out. Let's make one and see if it's worth your time, or if Gordon Ramsay has been lying to us all these years. Along the way, I'll tell you what worked, what didn't, and some of the things I'd do differently next time. And if there will even be a next time. One thing sure right away. Beef Wellington is expensive. To make it, start with a whole beef tenderloin. We only need the club or middle part, so trim away the ends to leave a uniform cylinder. Season all over with salt and pepper and pop it into a plastic bag. Excess moisture can be a real problem in beef Wellington. Cooking the tenderloin sous vide helps avoid that issue. Fill up a big container with water, set your immersion circulator to 125 degrees Fahrenheit, and drop in your bag. 2 hours in the water bath should be plenty. Next up, the duxelle. The first step is to mince a whole bunch of shallots. I want to be really precise with the proportions, so I'm measuring 350 grams. Cut them in half, remove the paper, and get mincing. And keep mincing. If you don't want to watch me cut shallots, I understand. Just skip ahead 20 seconds or so. If you're still with me, sit back, relax, and enjoy the sights and sounds of mincing shallots. We're also going to need a few cloves of minced garlic. I like making a mess, so I take the entire head and squish it with my palm on the board. Grab a few cloves and mince them up. Over on the stove, melt a gross amount of butter in a large sauté pan. Add all of the shallots and garlic and season generously with kosher salt and fresh ground black pepper. Back on the cutting board, it's time to play Fungus Ninja with a lot of different mushrooms. Watch closely, because this is where I made my first serious mistake. See how finely I'm chopping these? It's not fine enough. Large chunks of mushroom give a strange texture to the final dish. I read somewhere that you shouldn't use a food processor for this step, but if you've got one, I'd pull it out. Anyway, once your shallots are translucent, add the mushrooms. I did this in stages to make sure they fit in the pan. Deglaze periodically with sherry to prevent burning. Once the mushrooms are cooked down considerably and they aren't giving off any steam, you're done. You should be able to pack the duxelle against the side of the pan. With the tenderloin still in the bath, it's time to make a sauce. In it, more shallots, obviously, olive oil, bay leaves, thyme, and an entire bottle of red wine. If you can't bring yourself to do that, feel free to pour a glass first. Reduce almost completely and add a quart of chicken stock, then reduce by half. Strain and set aside. Now back to the beef. Get your tenderloin out of the water bath and dry it with paper towels. Sorry I didn't show you that, it just looks really gross. Get a pan screaming hot. Add some oil, it should smoke immediately. Using tongs, give the tenderloin a good sear on every side. If your kitchen fills with smoke, that's a good sign. Shortly after searing, brush the tenderloin generously with Dijon mustard. And this for me is where the entire dish goes wrong. If you've ever had a mustard-grilled patty from In-N-Out, this tastes just like it. For those who don't know, In-N-Out is a burger chain that people who grow up in California claim to love, but everyone knows is just alright. Unless you're talking about their fries, those are awful. The one upside of In-N-Out, it's dirt cheap. Beef Wellington, not so much. So being reminded of a mustard-grilled animal-style double-double is a miss for me. And with that behind us, it's time to put this big boy together. Start by laying out a couple pieces of plastic wrap. This will make rolling the beast much easier. Now place thin slices of prosciutto in a single layer covering the plastic wrap. And this is where I made serious mistake too. I used some cheap pre-packaged prosciutto. Don't do that. If you're going to make this, freshly sliced is the only way to go. It makes this step much easier. You won't have to deal with the torn slices of prosciutto that will cause further issues down the line. After the prosciutto comes the duxelle. Spread the entire mixture over the pig. Make sure everything is spread evenly across the surface, and this next part is really important. Thoroughly press down across the duxelle to make sure everything is well compressed. Take your time. This will make the next step easier. It will also help make sure the entire thing doesn't fall apart after it's cooked. Now place that In-N-Out flavored tenderloin on one side of the surface. Using the plastic wrap, carefully roll into a tight cylinder. This can be tricky, so again, be careful and take your time. Tuck each end to seal everything in. Grab both ends of the plastic wrap and roll the Wellington towards yourself. This will help form the shape and seal everything again. Do not over roll. If you do, the Wellington will turn into a ball rather than a cylinder. Roll just to the point where the plastic is tight across the prosciutto. Stop and unroll a bit if the middle starts to bulge. And now, the puff pastry crust, the final phase of assembly. This also happens to be my final serious mistake. I blindly trust chef steps for any recipe, and in this case, that was a mistake. Chef Steps suggests using Pillsbury canned puff pastry to save time, money, and some hassle. They suggest that the results will be almost as good as the real stuff. I've never said this before, but Chef Steps, I think you're wrong. Pillsbury puff pastry sucks. Okay, it's really bad. A Wellington has too much pastry to use a poor one. If you're gonna make this, don't cut corners here. Not only that, but the pastry was too small, so I had to stitch two together. Just like the previous step, roll everything up tight and seal off the seams and ends. Place the finished Wellington on a piece of parchment paper on top of a wired rack, all of which is on top of a sheet tray. This will make sure the bottom gets crispy, but it doesn't fall through the wire rack. I made a simple hatch decoration with rosemary. Some decoration is necessary, otherwise the final Wellington will look like a yellow log. Wash with egg and pop it in the oven for 20 minutes. Breathe a sigh of relief, and let's slice into it. Finish with our sauce, a bit of truffle oil, and some flaky salt. How's it taste? Mushy. Aside from the crust, the only texture is soft. Sure, I made some mistakes that could have made this better, but it's hard to imagine a beef Wellington that I like better than a more standard beef tenderloin roast. So will I be making this again? Probably not. Sorry, Gordon Ramsay. Thank you sincerely for watching. If you'd like to see more like this, you know how to let me know.